Young Lean just dropped a new album called Sugar World on his little second project, Jonathan Leandoer. And I feel like this, whole album is pretty interesting and solid because it has just like a lot of little fun tunes, but there's nothing on here that's like extremely amazing, but it is all, pretty fun and cool to listen to. And I think it is interesting that he's kind of, experimenting on his like second page or second project, I guess. I don't know. It's a little weird, but let's just go track by track. Starting off with Nightmare Amusement Park. I really like the production on the song with the guitar and the solid drum pattern in the background. Lean's vocals are a little underwhelming, but they sound kind of nice with the amazing production, especially when they aren't as monotone. The transition to the acoustic guitar and the string section is really amazing, and the transitions from the electric guitar back to the acoustic guitar work well every single time, and the sounds during the chorus also work well. Even though Lean's vocals are a little subpar, at least for the beginning of the song, they do work well and kind of build up as the song goes on. And I think while the song is pretty repetitive for a song that's like 4 minutes long, 5 minutes long, I do think it also kind of sounds fresh every time, and it works well because it kind of keeps that 5 minute length feeling nice. I don't know. It works well. There's a bunch of new instruments getting thrown in during the song, and the electric guitar at the end of the song works too well, and it sounds kind of great. Then we go to Sugar World. I like the bass line and the slow tempo of the melody of the song. The productions with the string and piano really works well, and I think Lean's monotone vocals also fit the sound well, as it gives a kind of sad feeling to the somber production and the atmosphere that the piano and strings create. The electric guitar in the middle of the track is great, as it sounds pretty beautiful, creating an amazing atmosphere, especially with the overlapping voices. The vocals in the middle of the song are much better as well, and the beauty of the piano in the second half of the song shows its versatility and how kind of Lean maximizes its potential on this song. Either way, pretty solid piano part. Lean's vocals are also just a little underwhelming, and the other guy's vocals on the track sound a lot better in my opinion. Open, I like the piano on the song, giving it a nice ballad sound. I think Lean sounds good on this song, as he kind of just lets his vocals shine on their own, with his flat sounding voice getting complemented by the high pitch of the piano's notes. The song kind of builds to the end, where a few more effects are used to create kind of more of an atmosphere, but I think the song is pretty solid with just Lean's vocals on their own working well. Swedish Elvis Storm, I like the production with the piano and banjo on this track. Gives it a very unique sound. I think Lean's vocals sound a lot better on this, as he doesn't try to do too much and kind of just lets it sound normal with his deep voice. The electric guitar is interesting, but doesn't really add anything to the track. The falsetto that Lean uses with his actual voice works well. It doesn't seem forced and sounds pretty solid with the production. Then we go to Rivers of Another Town. The production again is pretty solid with an atmospheric sound creating this kind of dome and upbeat piano and drum pattern, creating a nice vibe. I like Lean's vocals with the background vocals working well to keep the atmosphere. The strings also perfectly just complement the piano and drums, which give it an elegant sound. I also really like the fa la la part, because the strings kind of repeat it in their own, sound, and it sounds beautiful. Blue Light, the strings on this song sound good, and Lean's vocals get right into the listener's ears. The piano and slow drum pattern works well to create another somber atmosphere. I like Lean's super high falsetto vocals, as I feel like they work perfectly with the piano and strings. The vocals also work perfectly with the sound of the song, as the delivery is airy and just fits perfectly into the atmosphere of the beautiful piece. If I'm Born, I Have to Live, I like the electric guitar, but Lean's vocals in the background don't really work for me, and there's kind of no reason to have them at all. There's another solid transition into the acoustic guitar, and the nice upbeat tempo and melody really work on this song. The lyrics are kind of funny, but it works with the vibe, and I feel like, they're a little fun and cringy, but, they work. And Lean's flat vocals with no inflection works with it complementing the production. I love the piano at the end. It kind of builds up until the end of the song. July, I like the acoustic guitar production and the woman's vocals that complement and repeat Lean's vocals. That is another upbeat sounding tempo, and it sounds pretty solid. Lean's vocals kind of evolve to like a faux screaming thing, giving more energy, and the piano perfectly encapsulates his energy on the production. It's kind of a cute little song that perfectly wraps up the entire album. And I like the outro with Lean and the woman's vocals mixing with the background vocals to create a great atmosphere that kind of slowly melts away. Overall, this album is kind of, weird and interesting, and it does show that it's like a whole Young Lean side project. Like, it doesn't really sound that much like Young Lean, but it does sound like some of the other Jonatan Leandoer tracks. Like, I mean, it's not super into that cloud pop, but it does have kind of a mix of like cloud type music where the vocals blend into the production. And I feel like it works well. Just overall, this album has a lot of, fun sounding tracks. Like, it's nothing that is too amazing in my opinion, but I think all of them are nice and fun. And as I listen to them more and more, I'll probably like them more and more just because, yeah, they're fun sounding. They have some nice instrumentation, and the production works well. I think the collaborator on this album, I don't really know if he's like a co-collaborator, but he's credited on every single track, Frederick Valentin. I think if Lean actually works with him on his actual music, I guess, instead of just the side pop stuff, I feel like it does really could work in his favor, because I feel like Frederick really brought, some nice instrumentation and production to this entire album. As I feel like it was pretty well produced. There was nothing too complex, but it all sounded fun throughout the entire thing, and there's never really a dull moment in this. While Lean's vocals were pretty underwhelming for the entire album, I think with more production, more vocal effects, everything like that, this album could sound really good as just like a Lean regular project coming out, a regular album. And I just think overall it shows a lot of potential for Lean to go in a similar direction to this, where he goes more into these slower and more somber sounding tracks, I guess. Either way though, like I said, I feel like this album was pretty interesting to listen to. Just a lot of fun tracks with pretty cool instrumentation, especially with the pianos. I was kind of a sucker for the pianos on this entire album. And just overall, I think the whole thing was pretty well produced. But either way, I think this is a really cool side pop thing. I think for 34 minutes and 8 songs, it works well, and there's not really any minute or moment wasted. There's always something fun or like a little change in production that always keeps everything interesting, and you're always like waiting to hear what's next, which I feel like really works and really is something as an artist you should experiment with, because if you're just repeating the same thing over and over, at least throw in something else to keep the listener listening to see what's next. I feel like a sense of mystery in music always works and always keeps the listener itching for more. But either way, I feel like this album was pretty cool. There's a lot of fun tracks, nothing really special in my opinion, but everything was pretty solid. And I would give Jonatan Leandoer's album Sugar World probably a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. I don't know, 7 or 6, one of those two, just because I feel like this is an album that's pretty solid, but as I listen to it more, I think I'll probably like it more and more, so I'll definitely have to do that, and then maybe my rating will change. I don't know.